In the spring of 2014, after months of planning and discussion, two guys extremely passionate about films, Nick Haskins and Justin Esquivel, came together to create the Epic Film Guys. The weekly podcast covers movies as only they can. It's in my podcast subscription and iTunes and should be in yours. Justin, thank you for coming on the show and welcome.
Thanks for having me on. It's a pleasure.
No, sir. The pleasure is all mine. Like I said, I really do enjoy the podcast, and I love geeking out with fellow film nerds. I love to start at the beginning. When did you first fall in love with film?
Honestly, and we talked about this in the podcast many, many times. I was 5 years old. It was opening night in June 1989 with Tim Burton's first Batman movie. I remember begging my parents to see that movie for weeks, seeing the ads in the newspaper. Such a huge deal for a kid that age, and seeing that movie just opened me up to not only comic book related things, but just big budget motion pictures basically. Yeah. So that really opened the door for me onto other things.
Yeah, and you know, it's interesting because you and I, we kind of go back and forth a little bit on social media, and I just got into the figurine collection game. I said, look, I'm gonna just throw off, you know, all this, be a grown-up thing, and just grab some new Superman and the Batman figurines. You're a collector as well?
I certainly am, yeah. I think that my wife will kill me if I buy any more, to be honest with you. But it's just an addiction, I swear to God. It's just like, you know, all the crap all over my arms here. It's just, you know, I love movies, and I love collecting things that pertain to the movies.
Yeah.
So I'm all about wearing it on my sleeve, technically.
Now, I know the director, Charles, he wanted to get some of these tats in there. Just show off some of these tats. I see Superman right here. What else do you got on there?
Yeah, Batman and T-Rex from Jurassic Park, King Kong, Michael Myers. My legs, they're kind of hidden, but I've got Keaton's Batman, Nicholson's Joker.
Really?
Charles Bronson, among others. So yeah, they're all pretty much movie related.
That's pretty awesome. All right, so just let us know, how did the Epic Film Guys come together?
Well, I actually started working with my co-creator, Nick Haskins, at a job, and we actually started talking about our avid love of Tim Burton's Batman, and it began, we just started talking about other movies and, you know, reciting movie quotes and stuff, and then years down the line, we would do it in between things at work, and if I recall, it was somebody else, one of our coworkers were like, you guys should do this, like record it or do it on video or something, because it's pretty entertaining, especially like our banter, and we would argue about things, so we're like, hey, why don't we just try this? And that's how it became just Epic Film Guys.
Okay, cool. Now, one of the things that I love about you guys is you start out the show and you're like, what are you drinking? I mean, it's right there in the logo.
It is, yeah.
All right, the Oscars are tonight. What are you drinking?
I haven't decided that yet. Honestly, I'm a little bit late to the game on that. I probably will pick something up on my way back home, but not sure. I like that idea. I'm kind of like spontaneous in that respect, where every week I kind of just say, hey, I've never tried that. I'm going to grab that for tonight.
Right.
You know?
All right, so do you guys drink through the entire podcast, or is it just like in the beginning you just kind of sip it?
It really depends. Sometimes neither of us will know if the other one's still going or not, or in between breaks we'll, oh, no, I only had the one, or no, I've got like three. You know, it's just, we never really plan it that way. It's just, and it depends on what we're talking about too. I think for Deadpool, I think we had maybe 3 or 4 each.
Okay.
It was kind of required for that.
Right. It's a fun time. All right, so the latest podcast, you guys were actually breaking down kind of the Oscars.
We were, yeah.
Who you thought would win. One of the things that I love that you guys do is you guys kind of, you know, cross, pollinate with other podcasters.
Yeah.
So maybe you could just talk a little bit about, because I think with you guys' podcast, it's so awesome how you really shine a light on other podcasts. And I think it's something unique.
Yeah.
And I'll kind of actually geek out about this in a second. But, you know, what made you guys decide to be a part of the hashtag Pattern Family and all that good stuff?
Actually, my partner, Nick, really started to get into it a while ago. When we decided we were going to do a podcast, it was because we used to do video reviews, and our dynamic was off. I would try to do them alone, and it didn't have that same, you know, energy to it because he wasn't there next to me. So when we decided to do the podcast, he started talking to some people online and networking on Twitter, and Pattern Family just welcomed us right in, and now he's like one of the main players there. And it's all about networking and really focusing on promoting everyone else's show, especially when everyone really likes doing the same thing.
Right.
You know, it's a hobby, but we have passion for these things, especially, hey, we're the Epic Film Guys. We love films, so it's great when we can just talk to other people about it, bring other people on. And a lot of times, you know, me and Nick can agree on a lot of things, So we want to bring in a different dynamic and not somebody else, like an outside party, to kind of, bring in some new energy.
Right. Now, is Nick in New York?
Nick is in New York.
Okay.
He is from my hometown. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to mention it on the air. Binghamton, New York. That's where I'm from. He's there in the middle of nowhere right now. But,
nice. How do you guys record the podcast? Because you do it every Tuesday, right?
We do it on Skype, actually.
Okay.
We do it through Skype, yeah.
Nice. That's crystal clear for Skype.
It took a lot of work to get it that way. Believe me, if you look and listen to our older episodes, they don't sound nearly as clear.
Gotcha. All right, so you kind of talked about it already, but like, how did you kind of get into the film criticism aspect of it? And would you call yourselves film critics or just film enthusiasts?
I think actually Nick started before I did, because he's a writer and he started writing reviews. As soon as I knew him, he'd write stories, but every time he'd see a movie, he'd write a really long, in-depth review, and they were always really well written. And I'm like, well, when we first started talking about movies and doing something together, we were just like, well, we're just gonna say our thoughts about it. And I always think about when I was a kid, and I would watch Siskel and Ebert, and it was like really important to me. Even though as a kid I barely ever agreed with them, it was just kind of like that fun thing to sit and watch people talk about movies and how they felt about it. They were criticizing the films, they were critics, but they also just told you if you should see it or not. And I feel like we just kind of take that natural approach about it. We love it or we hate it, and we're just gonna tell you why. But if I'm a critic, I guess it's up to our followers or our viewers or our listeners to really decide that.
Yeah, most definitely. What do you guys like most about doing the podcast?
I think it's just that we love movies, and it's really fun for us to go back and forth, especially knowing that I have to wait after I see something to talk with him about it the next week on the podcast. So for example, if we just saw Hail Caesar, we don't talk about it from when I saw it opening night until the next Tuesday. So it just builds up and just explodes into movie fandom. I think it's just a fun time, and I love bringing other people on and just talking about movies.
Yeah, it's awesome. I think these days I feel separates like indie podcasts, right, is consistency, production value, and web presence. And that's something that you guys all have. I'm just looking at the graphics, like, who does the graphics? You got the shirt, you got this thing packaged, man.
That's
it's
me,
nice.
man. Yeah, it's all about, and I used to do music for about 15 years of my life. I used to play in some rock and roll bands, maybe heavy metal, you could call it. But so it's kind of ingrained in me. But when I started deciding that I wanted to do something movie related, I've always loved movies. Just figured I'd put all my passion into that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Let me read this really quickly. Brilliant, insightful, hilarious. Plus, they really make an effort to reach out to their listeners on social media. After a few episodes, you feel so comfortable with them, you forget you don't actually know them in real life, but they're always available to talk movies with you on Twitter and Facebook. Now, this is an actual review on iTunes. Which I think is a testament to, that what you just talked about, the passion that comes out in the podcast as you guys talk about it. What do you think about that? And also, how do you guys keep in contact with your listeners like that? They really support the show.
Yeah, honestly, it's we get personal messages all the time on Facebook, on my Instagram, on Twitter. He handles most of that, but he gets all kinds of messages and requests and comments, and we love them. They're the reason why we do it, aside from just us being two guys that want to, sit every Tuesday night next to a microphone with a beer and, hey, did you like this movie? No, I didn't really like it. It's just they give us that fuel to add to the fire to really, we have someone that cares. We want you to participate with us. We want to hear what you think too. And, we always give the opportunity for our fans to come on the show as well.
Yeah.
So, it's just a fun time. It's just a big group of people that love movies. I'd love to have you on the show sometime too, if you'd like.
Yeah, one day that'd
be a great
awesome.
time.
Yeah, exactly. That's cool, man. I like I said, I really enjoyed the podcast. One of the questions that I wanted to ask you, just in regards to coming up with your show, what the topic's going to be, kind of the outline of it. Do you guys actually plan out, all right, this segment is this, that, or is it just more of a free flow?
That guy right there. He does all the planning. He tells me what we're doing before we do it, and then I plan for that. Well, for example, we're working on this week, leading up to Batman, Superman, Dawn of Justice, we're actually going to do a Christopher Reeve retrospective on all of the Chris Reeve Superman films.
Nice.
So we kind of just plan ahead, based on what we know is coming out, what we know we're going to be seeing, and, whatever guests we're going to have and what they may be wanting to talk about as well.
So do you guys lean more towards like the superhero films? You know, like I think there's a certain segment of, you know, whether it's podcasters or film review shows that kind of love to geek out, you know, about the superhero films. Do you think? Because I mean, on Instagram, man, you already bought your tickets.
I lucked out.
Yeah.
I lucked out with that. That was actually a surprise. I didn't think that was going to happen because they don't go on sale till tomorrow.
Right.
But we love superhero movies. I mean, definitely. But to the same respect, you know, we don't like to pigeonhole ourselves right into that because we love everything. You know, we'll watch anything from an indie flick that no one's talking about to, you know, for me, I love old school film, and Nick does as well. You know, classic cinema as well. So, I mean, we like everything, but I think it's those movies that really get us energized. You know, last year we had Jurassic World, we had Star Wars, you know, we had Avengers 2. These are big budget movies, and you know, you look forward to it like you're a kid. Like that nostalgia is there, but you know, in this day and age, you grow up and it's constant. Like back in the day, you had to wait for a superhero movie or something every couple of years, but now they're constant. So we just get to enjoy that now, and I'm glad my daughter's growing up in a world where she gets to enjoy that. You know?
Right, exactly. You know, I was thinking about that. You know, I got 2 kids, so it's gonna be interesting when they get old enough. I mean, can you think about like if they started watching the Marvel Cinematic Universe from start to finish? Like, when would you finish? It would probably take you like a couple weeks or maybe like a full week at this point.
Yeah.
You know, just to get through all those movies. It's crazy.
It's nuts. It's awesome, and it's a great time to live in for movies. That's all I have to say. A lot of people complain about that, but I mean, you know, I love every decade. There's a lot of movies I love, but I think that, you know, we're just really lucky, you know, as movie lovers to have all these great movies coming out. You know, well, you could call them great. Not all of them are, but you know, it's just seeing these properties get, you know, treated this much respect and really getting a lot of creative people behind them that are amazing. It's awesome.
Yeah, most definitely. All right, so with the Epic Film Guys, like what is the goal? Because like you said, it's a hobby right now, but is it? I mean, would you like to see, you know, get picked up, sponsorship?
I'd love it. Actually, we would just want to do it and keep doing it until we can get as big as we possibly can. I mean, it's really just a passion for us. I mean, I don't care about, you know, it's not about making money or anything like that. We just really want to be Epic Film Guys, and as big as that can be, you know, as fast as this ride can take us. That's what it's all about. I mean, there we are, ladies and gentlemen. Follow us, listen to us.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what it's all about, man. It's the passion, and honestly, I think in this day and age, there's so many podcasts that are springing up right now, right? And so I thought about it. Like, I started listening to podcasts at least in 2008, probably earlier, right? But now it's like something where big companies try to market or get behind it. And I think you're absolutely right. Like, you got to keep the passion. And honestly, it has to be something that you wouldn't mind waking up and doing for free, which you're pretty much doing right now.
I'd love it. I wish that could be my day job 24/7. I mean, I still do it. That is what I do, but it's not my actual day job, unfortunately.
All right. So how can people reach out to you guys? Where can they find the podcast?
Everything is on epicfilmguys.com. That's where you can find all of our Instagram, our Twitter, our Podbean, our Stitcher, everything. Everything's on there.
Awesome. Where can I get a cool shirt like that?
We're actually going to be making some more of these soon.
Nice.
Brand new, fresh design. I'll throw you one when we get it made.
I didn't pitch it to you so that you would like be like, I'll give it to you. I just want to know where I can get an Epic Film Guys.
These were very limited release. So these are like a collector's item. They may be on eBay right now. I'm not sure. For like 10 cents. I don't know.
Right. Nice. All right, Justin. So let me just ask you one more question. You guys have been doing this since 2014. About how many episodes have you actually done?
I think we're upwards 34 is what we just finished. I'm pretty sure.
Because it looks like your episodes always start over again. Like it gets to a certain number and then.
Well, we just rebranded. We were the Epic Film Guys doing the Real Rundown podcast, but no, we decided to drop the Real Rundown. That was an old segment that we used to do when we did video reviews. So we decided to just call it the Epic Film Guys podcast.
Gotcha. Awesome. All right, Justin Esquivel, thanks so much for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah.
It was a fantastic time.
All right. We'll take a short break, and we'll be back with Ulysses Campbell, creator of Fantastic Forum.